and welcome back to the How to Be series, a series where I share tips and advice on things that I think get in the way of you just being you. So this week we're going to talk about letting go and how to get out of our little heads, how to get rid of all of those voices that tell us we're not good enough or we're a bit shit or we can't achieve certain things. And the reason I wanted to talk about letting go is because so many of us hold ourselves back purely from things that we were told as a kid, or because we're seeing someone do something better than us and comparing ourselves, or we're lacking in confidence. And I feel like we all deserve to get to that stage that we've got on our vision board, to reach the goal that we had when we were 5, to reach the goal that we set ourselves of becoming a YouTuber or a podcaster or a director at work, or being in a great, happy, healthy marriage, or having an amazing social life. We all deserve that. And I think a lot of the reason that we don't is because we live in our heads. So I wanted to dedicate a whole episode to letting go, being free. Living free feels so fucking great, and we all deserve it. So let's get into it. But before we do, please subscribe, please like the video, please follow if you're listening on audio. It really does help. So yeah, let's get into it. Letting go, I could honestly sit here and talk for probably about 2 days about how to let go and why we should let go and why we're all in our heads. And I think it's such a broad topic. So I've broken it down into 7 steps as a starter that I think you will all find useful and hopefully find relatable and be able to take something from and go away and put these things into practice, so then you can start to just relax a little bit. We're all so uptight and tense and pressured and stagnant, and it's not good. We need to learn to breathe and let go and let our shoulders down and be who we want to be. I did do an episode on shedding, and this is different to that. Shedding is about getting rid of the cobwebs, getting rid of things that don't serve you, getting rid of the toxic friend that you've been besties with for 10 years. Get rid of her. This is about letting go. It's more about the mind. So I will put the link for shedding in the show notes. But yeah, go back and watch that. But this one is different. It's about mind. It's about stop holding on to things and stop controlling. And I think it's important because being in your head, and I'm speaking from experience, I'm someone who has lived in my head. I'm 32 now, and I've lived in my head for honestly 31 years. And I think the past couple of years I've really learned to get in there and get it out through various different things, and I really feel passionately about this. I don't know if you can tell. Let's get into the 7 steps. Step 1, you're probably all going to start yawning at this point, because step 1 of my guides will always be some form of mindfulness. Some form of pause, some sort of observation. So step 1 for letting go is journaling. And I said it in my confidence video that I posted a couple of weeks ago, but don't journal how I'm feeling or what happened today. I don't know if for some people journaling every day works. For me, I find it tedious and I don't find myself being honest. And I do it quite half-assed when I do it every day, if I'm being completely honest. So for me, journaling is getting into it. Ask yourself why. Figure out your feelings. What happened to you when you were 4? All of this stuff, get it out. And you have to be so open, so honest, and so vulnerable with yourself for journaling to have the effects that it does. I know we're in a space of self-love has to be at the front of everything, and we have to journal and vision board and set goals and say affirmations and move our bodies and breathe, and it can feel like a lot. And I think when you try and cram it all in, it waters down the effects of what you're actually doing. And I think, in my experience, unless you journal so vulnerably and you get to the root cause of why you act. It hurts, you'll cry, it's painful, but unless you do it so honestly, it's not going to work. And I've said it so many times on this podcast. I know so many of you find it difficult to be vulnerable with yourself and to journal. And please reach out to me if you feel comfortable, to a friend, to family, whoever, and try and, I don't want to say push yourself, but try and figure out a way to get some of these emotions and some of these feelings, because you'll be surprised. Once you start, you'll be surprised what comes out, and you'll be surprised how much you're holding on to. So step number 1 is really to observe why you're feeling like your head's busy all the time. If you think about it, you're cramming things in there all day, every day, for years and years and years. If you don't start to let it out, if you don't start to release, it's only going to get worse. Like, let's just be frank and let's just be honest. So I think journal it out. I can put a link in the description and in the show notes about which journals I like, but I honestly do it with a pad and a pen, a blank A4 pad and a pen, and I write the date at the top, I write journal entry, and I write, and I just let it all out, and then I close it. And it's very rare I read them back, to be honest, but I do read some of them back. But yeah, get it all out, be kind to yourself, and honestly, it's doing yourself a favour. So yeah, step 1, journal. Step 2 is a really, really good one. Stop sweating the small stuff. I will say it louder, and I will say it again very, very, very slowly. Stop sweating the small stuff. I honestly am so guilty of doing this. My day, and I'm sure yours can be too, because I don't know anyone who doesn't sweat the small stuff, but my day can be so affected by the tiniest little thing. Someone looks at me funny on the way to work. Someone says something in passing. You never know what is going on in anyone else's head. You could have a shit day and you could act out, and then an hour later you'll be like, fuck, why did I do that? I must have, like, so unlike me. You can be on the receiving end of someone else doing that as well. So you have to realize that not everything is aimed at you. Not everything is personal to you. Not everything is designed to get in your way. Not everything is designed to make you feel like shit. Not everything is designed to upset you. And the second you start to realize this, you will also realize how much you let small things affect your day to day. And it really does take a toll on your mood, but also you hold on to things and it creates so much tension in your body that you don't realize. It's something that's so small, and I actually don't think we talk about it enough. It's so small when you obsess over the smallest little things and you pull them apart. And I think, I can't speak for guys, but women especially, you will receive a text and that text could be completely normal, but because we feel the way we feel today, or because the person sending the text might be in a different mood to their usual happy mood, like something could have happened to them, we read every word. He doesn't like me anymore. He's definitely seen someone else. Oh my God, as so-and-so, like, do you think she's got another friend that she likes better than me? It's absolute madness. It's normal. I think it's normal. I think we all do it. But when you put it into perspective about how much you let really small day-to-day things manipulate you and manipulate your mood, you'll just take a step back. Honestly, start to just observe the little things that bother you so much and then ask yourself why. And you will most of the time be like, I don't know. I don't know why that bothers me so much. But it does. Go back to step 1 and journal about it if it does bother you that much. A lot of the time, in my experience, I've been able to be like, that's really bothered me, but actually it doesn't affect me. So let's just let it go. And that's okay. And if it is something bigger that does bother me, there's obviously a reason why. Journal about it and get it out, but stop holding on to tiny little things that are pissing you off so much that you can't move forward from it. It's a waste of time, it's a waste of energy, and it's impacting you from moving forwards. another thing on sweating the small stuff. You've probably done this. So you'll be on the receiving end of something and then you think about it and you think about it and you think about it and then you think about it some more and then you probably think about it just a little bit more until it's this whole exaggerated story that you've built up in your own head to a point where the end story has nothing to do with the one text you received 4 days ago, and it was just an impact of someone's mood that has affected you so much, and you've wasted all of that time just like fixating on it. So just put things into perspective and learn to let them go. Step 3 is a bit similar to step 2, but I've given it its own step because I think it's really interesting. The way that we hyper-focus on things is insanity. You can receive a text message, or you can be in a bit of a weird, awkward, negative encounter with someone, and then you think about it, and then you think about it, and then you think about it, and then you think about it some more, and then you think about it some more, and then you probably think about it a little bit more, and then a little bit more, and a little bit more, and you know where this is going, right? Until you've built such a narrative around something that was so tiny, that happened a week ago, that you have built up tension and tension and tension and tension and tension and tension until you're ready to explode, all because you hyper-focused 7 days ago. And when you think about it and you think about some of the things you let exaggerate in your mind and build and build and build and build and build and build, it's madness. It's an absolute madness. So put things into perspective. One way to stop hyper-focusing is to speak. And that sounds redonkulous, I know. But speak. Say what's on your mind. We all have this thing of like, I can't say this because what are they going to react to? Like, what are they going to come back with? I just can't. Say it. Always be kind. That is rule number 1. Always be kind. But if you have something to say about something, you should say it. Don't be scared to express your opinions, and we can probably have another episode on that. But the more you hyper-focus on things, the more you exaggerate and you build them up, and it becomes into this huge thing until you're ready to blow. When actually, if you just mentioned something 7 days ago, it could have been quite easily put to bed. And so stop hyper-focusing, realise when you are hyper-focusing and take action, do something about it, speak to friends about it or get advice on it. Take action, because we waste so much of our time, again speaking from experience, so much of our time building and building and building and building something that's not even real. So yeah, put a kaput in hyper-focusing. It's 2024, we're not here for it. This is actually a bit of a digression and it's not a step, but I wanted to share it with you because I think you'll find value in it. I did an exercise with my therapist a few weeks ago and we got 7 Russian dolls, and each Russian doll had its own perspective. So it was all perspective on you as a person. So the first one, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but the biggest doll was a stranger. What does that stranger think about me? And then we spoke about it. Take that one off. The next doll was someone at work. We spoke about that. What do people at work think about me? How would they describe me? Take that one off. The next one, a guy, like in a dating situation. We spoke about that. Took that one off. And then we did family, we did friends, we did myself, we did strangers, we did people in shops, we did loads of different ones of people that I was building up a narrative that I thought they had an opinion on me. And actually, everyone has a different opinion on you. And you're never going to be able to control that. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because we hyper-focus so much and zoom in on what other people think about us. Do this exercise, and what you will realise is, 1, a perspective shift, but also 2, that other people will think what they think about you, regardless of you. You can't control it. So I thought it was a nice little tip to share in this because it's been a big part of me being able to let go. Like walking down the street, what are they thinking about? What do they think? Oh my God, walking into work, what does so-and-so think about me? I do care. I think we're human and I think it's okay to admit that we care, but it's completely out of my control. So I need to stop hyper-focusing on it. And that exercise really allowed me to just let that go. So anyone who is obsessing over what other people are thinking about them. Do the exercise. It worked wonders for me. Step 4 in letting go is control. I think, especially as women, we control, or we try to control, or we try to have things within our control so much. And what I think about that is, I think that, one, it keeps us stagnant because we are so internally, I'll say the word tense a lot, but like when I say tense, I mean like internally tense, like you can feel like your shoulders and your neck getting tight. And I think it holds tension within us, and I think it adds resistance between us and the thing that we're trying to achieve. And then as a result, we hold ourselves back. And so what I've learned over the past few months, and what I would love for you to start to do, is to let go of some of that control and stop trying to control everything, because you're holding yourself back. And life is so much more enjoyable when you learn to just let things be. And there'll always be an element of us wanting to control ourselves. We're human. We want to keep ourselves safe. It's just an autopilot thing. I think women tend to do it a lot more than men. We have to enjoy ourselves. And when you're constantly in control, or you're trying to control decisions or situations or scenarios, or you fancy the guy but he doesn't fancy you, how do I get him to fancy me? And then how do I get him to want to date me? And how do I get us to be in a relationship? That's out of your control. You can show him that you like him by actions, or you could tell him. What he does with that is completely out of your control. There's so many situations that we cannot control. So the more you focus on controlling certain things, the more resistance you're putting in your way. So really, if you are someone who's controlling, and I was, it's hard to admit, but I was trying to control everything in my life. And the second I stopped controlling things, weirdly but not weirdly, things really did start to move for me in a big way. So I'm such a believer in the universe and in God and in a higher power. You take it as what you will, but let things go and put out things that you want and behave in a manner towards that, but don't control it. You're holding yourself back. Step 5 is a good one, but we've got to be honest with ourselves here. Step 5 is stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop pitying yourself. Stop wallowing in self-doubt. Stop telling yourself that everyone's better than you, that you're not worth it, that you're not good enough. And I get it. I have been someone who, my default is wallowing. My default is self-pity. My default is feeling sorry for myself. I get it. And it's awful. And sometimes we go through things and we get in a rut and we just fall into the pattern. Again, we're human. It happens. But you have to start recognizing when you're doing it, and you have to give yourself a real good talking to when you fall into the pit of feeling sorry for yourself. It's not good, doesn't give out good energy. We're magnetic, so everything that you give out, you receive the same energy back. If you're feeling sorry for yourself, no good can come from that. And I think sometimes it's natural and it's organic, and I think sometimes things happen in life. We have sad days, we have days that defeat us, we have times where it's tough. It is okay to feel sorry for yourself at times, but you have to allow yourself a day, allow yourself 2 days, and then get back up and get on with it. Because without it, and without your own, we talked about confidence in the last episode, without you getting up and making things happen for yourself, it's not going to happen. And that is not savage, it's just the harsh reality. So if you are feeling sorry for yourself, recognize it, understand why, speak to yourself, build that narrative, and go out and carry on with your day-to-day. If you're fighting for something, if you're really working towards something, you might not be, it might be just your day-to-day life. You have to stop wallowing, and you have to get out of bed, and you have to push yourself to do it, because I promise you, it will make you feel 100 times better than laying in bed self-pitying. I think a lot of self-wallowing comes from self-comparison as well. I think especially when you are trying to become something or be someone or achieve a goal or start a podcast or be a content creator or building your channel or building your career or making new friends, you constantly look at other people telling yourself, they've all got great friends. Look at their career, that's amazing. How have they got 100,000 subscribers in 3 months? Like, it can be a lot. And so you have to recognize when you're self-comparing, and also recognize there are people in the world that get there because of their circumstance, because of family or because of relations or just the circle that they were born into or whatever. There are people who are lucky, but the majority of people that do well and that achieve the things that they want to achieve is because they believed in themselves, they built confidence, and they were consistent. They kept pushing themselves every day. And so once you start to realize that, you will learn to stop comparing yourselves, and you'll use that as inspiration to get to where you want to go. Step 6 is, I think it's an interesting one. And step 6 is understanding your own narrative. Now, this goes back to the Russian doll story that I was telling you about a little bit earlier, but I've put this in here because I think when you're trying to let go, or part of the reason we hold tension is because we've told ourselves such a narrative of who we think we are, what people think about us, something that we were told as a kid that we are still telling ourselves now that's no longer true, or someone said something to us 10 years ago and we still hold on to it subconsciously, but we don't realize it. And I think understanding your own narrative is journaling can be a part of this, observation can be a part of this, self-reflection can be a part of this, talking to your friends, talking to your family. But I think it's sitting for a minute. And I'll give you an example. So I was always bullied at school for being a bit chubby. I was always on the bigger side. I had 2 siblings that were really petite and people used to compare me to them. And for years and years and years, and it's only this year that I've learned to really let go of it, I told myself that I was like too big to go to nightclubs. I couldn't wear certain stuff. Why would anyone want to date me? Because I'm so fat. And it sounds awful to say it, but I'm just going to be super vulnerable with you right now, because I think a lot of people go through the same thing of being told that there's something so much, and they get to a point where it's no longer true, but that narrative is still heavily, heavily affecting them. And so why I wanted to include this was for anyone who is doing that, and I think it's a massive part of letting go and living your life much happier as you, I think you have to observe what you've been told, what narrative you're telling yourself, versus what is actually true right now. So, for example, I would tell myself all of that stuff about my body image and my weight, and that I wasn't good enough and I shouldn't be in certain situations because of the way I looked. Actually, I got photos out from when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, and now, and 3 completely different people, and the person I was telling myself that I was the girl at school. I'm 32, I'm not in school anymore. I don't look the same, I don't have the same morals, I don't have the same values, I don't hang around with the same people. I have a completely different level of self-respect. I have achieved all of my dreams in terms of career and where I live. I've achieved all of them and more. So why am I telling myself and keep beating away at my self-confidence? I'm telling myself a narrative that's no longer true. It's absolute bullshit. So doing an exercise like that really helped me to step out of who I thought I was and into who I actually am. And cliche or not, that's the reality. And doing that and learning my own narrative, my new narrative, with the life that I have, with the person that I am, with the goals that I'm achieving, with the dreams that I'm living, has allowed me to really, really, really let go of the old version of me and hold on to and understand the version of me that I have spent so long building up. You all know I've been on this self-love mindful journey for 7 years, and it's only now I'm starting to realise that, wow, all of this stuff has affected my life. Remember, it's the journey, it's not the right now. And so it's about, if you are holding on to stuff and you are telling yourself something that you were told years ago that is no longer true, you have to dig deep, and you have to spend time realising that and live as the version of you now, not as the version you were 5, 10, 15 years ago. Learn to let go and tell yourself your real narrative. Step 7 is letting go. Now, I know that sounds weird, the episode's about letting go. We've talked about letting go the whole way through. Until you actually let go, you can't let go. And I know that sounds like a madness, but if you write down all of the things that you think you're holding on to, be honest with yourself. It could be weight, it could be body image, it could be bullying at school, or you might have been the bully at school. It could be a boyfriend that you just can't see, you're over him, but you can't seem to shake. It could be a situation, it could be a family issue, it could be whatever it is that you are holding on to. All of that is adding tension and tension and tension and tension and tension. And you can do this through journaling, you can do it through therapy, you can do it through talking, you can do it through meditating, you can do it through just sitting, pondering, walking, thinking. We've talked in this series about all of the different versions of mindfulness. Pick one that works for you, pick a few that work for you, and really delve into them, immerse yourself into them, and really learn to let go until you be vulnerable, until you be honest. Until you let go, all of this tension is going to be within you. And I've said it 100 times, you deserve to be 100% yourself every single day. And life is not for holding on to everything. Life is to be enjoyed, and it sucks. And I'm talking because this year I've really overcome some things that I was holding on to for dear life. I could not let them go. They affected me so much. And I feel so much more freer. And I've spoke to a lot of friends who have done the same thing recently, but I feel so much more free now that those things aren't weighing me down. I feel like I can move, I can feel like I can progress, I feel confident, I feel like I love myself, I feel like I've got good surroundings. And that's all because I've followed these steps of being able to let go. But I've actually accepted that to move forward, you have to let go of things. So any of those examples or your own realities, learn to let them go out into the ethos. Visualize sending them away. Whatever works for you, write them down and then cross it out. Whatever works for you. It's not about erasing the past, it's about letting it go and growing from it. You've moved on, so let's leave the past in the past. If it's a negative, if it's holding you back, leave it in the past and learn to move forward from it. Holding on to things from your past is only collecting evidence that you are the person you was before. And you might not have completely changed who you were. That's absolutely fine. Some people don't, some people do. But what you're doing is you're collecting evidence, if it's a guy, for example, that you're not good enough, that you can't move on, that all of these negative things. What we're trying to do here and in this series is to move out of that and step away from that and build and grow into someone that you really love and you really value, and someone who can achieve whatever they want. So they were the 7 steps of letting go. Please follow them, please take them on board, and please implement them, because I think doing all of those steps and rinsing and repeating, and remember, this is not a rigid journey. You might want to do step 1, but step 2 might not work for you, or step 3 and 4 you might really love, but step 1 you can let go of. Actually, don't do that, because you all need to journal. Everyone should journal. It's so beneficial. But just keep rinsing and repeating, and I will be a broken record quite happily, but this is a journey. This ain't going to happen overnight. It takes years, I won't say of hard work, because I don't think it is hard work. I think it's interesting work and intriguing work, and I think it's nurturing. But it's baby steps to building things into your life that really add value and make you connect with yourself and really make you self-love, because holding on to all of that stuff that we've talked about and being able to release it, there is no better feeling, I promise you. So please follow the steps, rinse and repeat them, be consistent, be passionate about letting go, and tell me what you found useful in the comments. Tell me what you're letting go of. Tell me your stories. Tell me what you want to hear next, because I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for listening. Please like the video if you're watching on YouTube and subscribe. And if you're listening on podcast audio, please follow on whichever platform. It really, really does help. So yeah, I appreciate you checking in every single week. Please keep listening. Let me know what you want to hear next, and I'll see you back here next week.